So if I buy a house right now, am I going to lose money? Right now, if you pay much attention at all to the news, you're hearing about an upcoming recession, an upcoming economic collapse, an upcoming housing crisis. I'm pretty sure that somebody's going to say that dirt's going to disappear. We keep hearing bad news constantly, but I cannot remember a time in the past 10 years when the news media wasn't presenting some type of bad news. That's their business, is keeping you watching and afraid. So we want to consider why we buy a house. Two reasons why you buy a house. One is the location. It's close to your work, it's close to schools, a park. There's some reason regionally you want to be here. And then the second is lifestyle. Where you're living now, maybe it's too small and you need to upsize. Maybe the kids have moved out of your house and you need to downsize. Or you want to give more ability to be flexible and go jump in your motorhome and drive around the country. But those are the reasons why you consider making some type of a move. So really the next step is you're considering, does it meet those two needs and can I afford it? And so if you can afford the next purchase and it meets those two needs, now you have created the criteria where you buy your house. So where people are really getting tripped up is they are hearing all of this economic news and it's stacking high, and they're seeing interest rates are high, home prices are high. That guy said there's going to be a housing crash, and that guy said that cows are going to start flying. So all of this news is coming at you, and people start to look at their homes and say, oh, well, I want to buy at the dip. I want to buy at the bottom of the market so that I can get lots of value growth. The thing is, you can't actually treat your house like a stock. Stocks are a liquid asset. You buy this stock today, tomorrow it's a different price, you sell it at that price, and you get some value difference. That's arbitrage. But houses are not stocks. You can't treat it like an asset. Your house is the place that you live, and you're going to have to live there until you live in the next place. And so you're not actually holding an asset, you're holding a place that you live, which is the location or the lifestyle that you want. Now, considering that this is not an asset, we're going to move over here and talk through what I learned in business school about assets. And this is the classic definition. You got your assets, which is equal to your liabilities and your stockholder equity. More simply for your house, your home value is equal to the equity that you have minus whatever you owe to the bank. Very, very similar accounting-wise. According to the IRS, you're not actually allowed to use your house as an asset to qualify for certain investment criteria. So in this consideration, I want to actually jump to what Robert Kiyosaki talks about in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he classifies an asset as something that puts money into your pocket, and a liability is something that takes your money out. So let's look here. We got Dan the dollar. And if I use Dan the dollar to buy something that goes out, Dan gets Dave, and Dave and Dan come back, that's an asset. Whereas I use Dan the dollar and I put it into something, what's left over is a bunch of pennies, that's a liability. All right, so we've established that owning a primary house is a liability. But you're gonna have that liability whether you own the house or you rent it, because you have to live somewhere. It's either you're doing it with your money or the property owner is doing it with your money. The only time a house would actually be an asset is if somehow that puts money in your pocket. Let's say you refinance, you take some equity and you go purchase a different asset. Then you've actually created the asset. So circling all the way back to the first question, if I buy a house in this market, am I gonna lose money? Let's talk about back to why do we buy? If it's the location that you're looking for, if it's the lifestyle that you want, then that's a home that makes sense. It's not a wealth generator. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should lose money on your house. I'm saying when you're buying your house, don't make making money the primary reason. Looking historically speaking, at any 5 to 7 year period, which is the timeline most people own their homes, people who bought and waited that period of time came out ahead. If you are in the position that you have to buy and you find the place that is the right location and the right lifestyle, then it's likely that you are not going to lose money. If you have specific questions about your scenario, I'd love to chat. This is something I like to talk through, and we're glad to kind of talk through and see what makes sense for you. For more content like this, go ahead and like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and we can continue to share.